Thank you for joining another episode of Living Life with Leora. On this episode, I'm going to speak with Tamara. She is a very courageous woman whose journey reflects the experience of many other women who have gone through mastectomy, breast cancer, breast reconstruction, and silently suffered from breast implant illness. During these years, Tamara developed severe autoimmune responses as symptoms like rashes, vertigo, debilitating pain in her spine, and eventually hair loss. She's going to join us very, very shortly in like few seconds and going to share her story. But I want to tell you more about the fact that she spent years searching for answers, visiting plenty of doctors, hospital, emergency care, and did not have answers to her conditions. Eventually, she explanted, but unfortunately, by that time, she had alopecia, which is a hair loss, and she had also all these symptoms have taken a toll on her health. She's here to tell us her story and how she is healing herself. And, with this type of breast implant illness condition that are running for many years, it also has a toll on your personal life. And she lost her job, her home, and even her sense of identity. So today, Tamara is rebuilding, and this is the good news. She is in love with a husband of 16 years. She's a grandmother of beautiful grandchildren, and she's rebuilding her life with incredible resilience. She also has dreams, which we're going to share. Maybe she is the best person to share about her organic garden and also how she's going to help other women. But please, welcome, Tamara. Hi, Tamara.
Hi, Leora, and thank you so much for having me on the show.
You're welcome. I have to say you look beautiful, and we had several conversations about loss of identity and how does it feel to go from having so much hair to, and it's interesting that we are talking about, the hair loss, but that wasn't like the main symptoms. So, but I just wanted to, because I think we'll start with that because it really drew my attention when I saw your video on Facebook. And Ben, can you please pull out Tamara when she started her journey, and she had a beautiful, beautiful set of hair, blonde hair. And so that's Tamara when she had her hair. And then after she goes through all this 14 years of breast implant illness, and she's losing the hair, let's pull out the process there. We have a collage that Tamara prepared, and it's really painful to look at it because I know how much pain you went through. So can you actually take us back, Tamara, to what was happening, right after actually breast cancer, and then we'll jump into breast implant illness.
Okay. Well, at the time, like I said, I was the mother of 2 young boys, and at the age of 35, I didn't want to be flat because I didn't think emotionally that I could handle that, just having a flat chest with 2 scars across my chest.
Yeah.
So I did decide to go with the breast implants and the reconstruction. So they put the expanders in the same day that they removed my breast. They put the expanders in, and I would go back every Friday for an entire year. And they would put this needle in the magnet and fill up the expander with fluid as full as they can get it. And then I would go, and it would feel like a horse was sitting on my chest. I remember thinking that's what it felt like. But then over the next few days, the cells would regenerate, the skin would grow, and I could stand up straight again. And then by Friday, I'd go back in again to stretch the skin and some more. So I went through that for about a year. And then that's when they took the expanders out and put the implants in. And I guess I basically thought, as long as the cancer doesn't come back, I don't hear that word again, I get to live my life and things are good. And unfortunately, that was not the case. I began, so many symptoms. And honestly, there's probably so many, I'll forget some. But I began getting swelling, chronic inflammation over my entire body, and pain in my joints. I had rashes that I thought I would get a rash, and I thought, where in the world did this come from? I didn't use the different laundry detergent. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And some of them were really bad. And I ended up just having so much pain in my body, rashes. I got vertigo. I had vertigo, and it got so bad towards the end, I couldn't even stand up without holding on to the walls. My family and friends had put together a huge yard sale and then a huge benefit for me. Well, I'll get to that in a second, but I also had brain fog and memory loss, and so I knew something was definitely going on over the next 14 years.
So, did you think it was related actually to your breast implant, or did you think it was related to breast cancer? Because in your situation, it's a bit confusing because you had both.
It is a little confusing, and I didn't know at the time. I knew something wasn't right, and I had gone to the emergency room, and then I would go back to the emergency room. Then I would leave there in tears because they would tell me that my blood work was fine and nothing was wrong, and I knew that something was terribly wrong, and I felt like I was dying. So I would go to a different hospital, and again I would sit there for hours and hours, and just Matt would sit with me just to find out, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfectly fine. So you could go home. We'll get your discharge paperwork.
So how did you feel?
It was just,
Go ahead.
Sorry?
Yeah, I'm just interested to know, how did you feel? How was that experience when you're going from one doctor to another? You're going to emergency room, and all you're being told that that everything is okay, but you know that something is off. How does that feel?
It made me feel like everyone was trying to tell me I was crazy, or I was, looking for something to be wrong when there really wasn't. And that's very tiring for a person who, you know your own body.
Exactly.
And I knew all of these things that were happening were not okay. And that's when I started doing my own research, because I realized no one else is going to help me. I've got to figure this out on my own.
So when did you finally learn that it was your breast implant?
In 2019, my hair, the first thing that happened was kind of strange. I had a lot of hair, and I had this huge knot. I woke up one morning with this huge knot in the back of my hair, and it's like nothing I've never had before. And my mom tried to help me comb it out, and it was just the strangest thing. And then I noticed, as I was doing my hair a few times, it would get really hard and it wouldn't style as well as it used to. And then the next thing, it started just falling out when I'd wash it in the shower. I would look down and it would be between my fingers. And I don't know if you have already shown the pictures, but then when my hair started falling out, and I was doing my research, it was right about that time that my hair was falling out that I knew it was my breast implants, and I wanted to get them removed as soon as possible.
Scary. This is so scary, because I know that during COVID, I had a period, and I think that this is one of the side effects of COVID, that you lose your hair, and I lost a bunch of hair. And I remember how scared I was, how much anxiety there was involved there. Ben, can you pull that picture where it shows Tamara, unfortunately, with the hair loss? And it just, that journey, how did it feel to go from so much hair to waking up one morning and seeing that hair loss and not knowing how to stop it?
Well, I know that I looked like a mad scientist, and it was to look in the mirror and to see these huge bald spots all over my head. It was crippling. And so Matt and I had made the decision that I'm going to have to go ahead and just shave my head. All falling out anyway. And so we stood in the bathroom, and he shaved my head for me, and we both just had tears coming down our face. And then, my eyebrows, this is the strange thing. I was diagnosed with alopecia totalis universalis, which means every hair on your body. And a lot of people take for granted or don't even realize that, when God designed our body and we had hairs on our nose and our ears.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember standing in the shower, and if one little droplet of water would get on the end of my nose or go in my nose, I would choke immediately because there was no little hairs in my nose to stop that water from going down the wrong way.
But did at any point...
That's why I had vertigo. I'm sorry.
No, oh, wait. So the hair loss in your nose caused vertigo?
No, the little silk hairs that you have in your ears
Oh, wow.
helps with your balance.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you are now...
All these little things.
That's, well, it's a lot to go through, So does at any point, what's happening with the doctor that are treating you? And are they telling you that the hair is going to grow back? What do you know about it during that process?
And actually, I had been to so many doctors and no one could really tell me what was going on.
Wow.
And so when I realized it was my breast implants and that I had to get them out as soon as possible, I guess, I was devastated. I had lost my breast. When I had the explant, I was losing my breast for a second time.
Yeah.
It's hard enough to lose your breast the first time, but now I'm losing my breast again. And at this point, there's nothing but just the plastic surgeon. I finally did find that the new breast implant illness existed. He told me that I would have indentions on both sides of my chest where the implants had been situated for the last 14 years. So now without my hair and with these indentions in my body, I just didn't want to live. I just begged God not to wake me up. Please just let me go.
Wow. So,
to be quite honest,
during that difficult time, did you feel that like breast cancer was not as difficult as having breast implant? Did you have any thoughts about what you went through the first time and then the second time?
And then that's because they're both so terrifying. And I lost my little sister at 31 to breast cancer. She was diagnosed at 21.
Wow.
And she didn't want to have a mastectomy. So cancer was very, has always been terrifying to me.
Yes.
And it was horrible enough. And I did lose a little bit of hair during that. But it didn't seem to last. This pain and the suffering for me didn't seem to last nearly as long going through the first journey as the second journey with the breast implant illness. This has gone on now for over 20 years. And that's a long time.
It is a very, very long time of suffering and also living in a situation where you don't exactly know what is the cause root of what you're going through. So once you explanted, what year was it that you explanted your breast?
That was 2019. And I had my explant. And I remember sitting there before surgery with the doctor, and he was telling me how it's going to look afterwards. So I was prepared.
Yeah.
And he was saying that I would have an indentation on both sides. Well, I had previously been a manager for Curves for Women and taught weight loss class.
Yeah.
And I know in my classes, I would teach that you may get heavier the first month because you have to squeeze that fat out of the muscle, and then the fat starts coming off the layer by layer. So I got to thinking about that, and I said to the doctor, if we can squeeze fat out of the muscle when we're working out, why can't you inject fat into my pectoral muscle to start building so that we can build up that concave area? And I'll never forget, he took his pen and he kind of put it in the corner of his mouth. And he said, I think that might just work. So he did. We tried that and it was successful. I wasn't flat. I had little tiny mounds, which was so much better. I was so thrilled to have that and to have these indentions.
Mm-hmm. So you had, since then, you had 3 times fat grafting, right?
Yeah, that was the first. And then I had fat grafting a second time. I had it a year ago and in March. And that time didn't go so well. I passed out. My blood pressure bottomed out as soon as we came home from the hospital and had to be taken back by ambulance. And then came home. And then the next week, I had my post-op appointment. And as soon as I got to my post-op, the nurse said, "Are you feeling okay? Because you don't look right." And sure enough, it happened again. And they had to call the ambulance. But this time I had the third fat graft, third time. Sorry, I get confused.
Yeah.
The third round of fat grafting on this past Friday.
Oh,
And our fat transfer to the breast. And thank the Lord, it went very well. I'm healing well, and I'm
perfect.
so thankful that this is hopefully the last and final surgery.
So, yeah,
journey.
That's a very long journey. And so during that time that you are healing, can you share with our audiences what really worked for you? What is working for you in terms of all the symptoms that you had, from brain fog to vertigo to skin rashes? I mean, were you able to heal all of your symptoms or just some of them?
Well, what I did and I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional because when you think back,
it's hard. Yeah.
It's been, it has been difficult. But I did, as soon as I explanted, I would take a 30-minute, at least a 30-minute bath every single night in baking soda and Epsom salt. And it was so funny because the first, maybe 2 weeks, I guess I'd say, my water would get so dark. And I remember thinking, I know I'm not dirty.
You're not dirty. Where is this black color coming from? Yeah,
it's nasty. Well, then I noticed that I had this rash come up on my left foot. It became an awful a wound. It looked like a wound.
Wow.
And I'm a research queen through all of this. I would have gone to school straight out of high school to become
a doctor or a researcher.
Yeah, because I love the human body.
Yeah.
But how it's made, it's just intriguing. But I realized then my body, that's how my body was getting rid of those toxins that were, and I don't think we'll ever get rid of all of the toxins in our cells and organs, our bloodstream after. And that's a whole nother topic about this.
Yeah, but the point is that you want to get rid of enough toxins so that you get that sense of wellness. Did at any point, so you did that bath with the salt and with baking soda, which is amazing. I do that too, almost every day. What else worked for you?
And I'll tell you what really works for me. I need to eat cleaner. I will tell you that. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
But as far as getting, I've had back surgery and I have chronic pain daily. So I can't really exercise, but I do get up and walk and try to do as much in the house as I can.
Yeah.
And I try to not ever sit very long at a time because sitting is very hard.
Yeah, put pressure on your lower back, on the lower, L3, L4. That's a lot of pressure there.
Mm-hmm. But God and I have so much support from Matthew. And Matthew is just wonderful.
And that's your husband?
He's so wonderful.
Your husband?
Well, you know what? It's funny. A lot of people don't know this. We've been together for 16 years, and he proposed to me in 2014.
Wow.
And I got sick. And then he got sick with ITP, where your body kills its own platelets. And he's actually still suffering from that as well.
Wow.
So we have not yet officially gotten married.
Maybe it's time to celebrate now, a new beginning. What do you think?
We literally are going to just do it. We wanted to have a big ceremony on July 11th of this year, but I want to be right in God's eyes because we've been together for so long.
Yes.
And I just feel like So I think what we're going to do, we're literally going to go to the courthouse. We're going to get the marriage certificate.
About time.
signed, get it over with. And
Yes.
on July 11th, we're going to have a little ceremony on the beach.
And I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do, that I was like, when, with all this ordeal that you went through and that recovery, healing, going through the breast cancer and then surgeries and healing, I said, when did you have time? You're so lucky to find love in your life. And I think that is such an amazing support that you have a partner that is traveling that journey with you, and together you are actually healing.
We are. We've been there. We stay with each other on every hospital visit. We have the memory foam that goes on the bed, the Cajun spice for the seasoning and the food. I mean, we are very well prepared to take care of each other when one of us is in the hospital.
So what are your plans for the future in terms of healing? I mean, how do you see you and Matthew, since you're traveling that journey together, how do you see yourself healing, and what modalities can you use at this point in your life?
Well, it has been a very tough journey for Matthew and I because of our illnesses. We rent now. I lost my home. We lost bars. We lost a restaurant.
Oh my God.
So I'm on disability now, and it's difficult every month.
Yes.
But I know that God is the reason that we're both here, and I want to completely 100% live my life for Him and telling others about Him. And I know I'm just like, so far, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't without Him. I can't even explain how we've even made it this far financially, anything, with everything we've gone through.
Faith has we had an earlier conversation. We talked about your faith, and believing in God and giving the power to not just to yourself, but understanding that somebody there is watching you, and also the strength of praying.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, it has changed my life. I grew up in church.
Yeah.
But I never really knew God like I know Him now.
Yeah.
And He's just, I wouldn't be here. I told you, any woman who loses their breasts and their hair and their eyelashes and their eyebrows, I don't know the person that you're looking at in the mirror. And if you ever, for those that do have alopecia and have to draw their eyebrows on, that has been something. I remember coming out in the living room and I had one this way and one over here, a different direction, and you have to get them the same width. There's nothing easy about drawing your eyebrows on.
So Tamara, if you could get back one of the things that you lost during those 20 years, what would that be? Your hair?
Yeah, I think it would be my hair, because hair for women is their identity, I believe. And I know, I don't want to sound petty because, and I know it does in a sense, because so many people have said, oh, but you're still alive. You're beautiful, which I appreciate people saying that. Do I feel beautiful? Of course not. I don't wake up in the morning like this with makeup on. I'm a totally different person when I wake up in the morning, but I think it would definitely be my hair, because I would feel a piece of me, like I don't know. It's really tough as a woman without hair.
And what about, you remember you mentioned earlier, you talked about having Tamara before, Tamara during, and now you are the third Tamara. Can you talk about that third one, which is actually an inspiring view of yourself?
Well, the Tamara before all this happened, with my hair and my makeup, my confidence, I always worked in management, was a go-getter. And then now the second Tamara is the Tamara that I see in the morning when I wake up, and no wig, no makeup, no eyebrows. I don't recognize that person. And then the third Tamara is once I do my makeup, and if I put a wig on, which tell you why that's not the easiest thing in the world either for a bald head. But that third Tamara is kind of it's the one I have to find. I have to find her in order to walk out of my room into the world. Like I say, opening my bedroom doors, walking into the world. And
Yeah.
I've never been a negative person. Nobody likes to be around a sad, negative person all the time. And I'm not that person. I want people to be happy and I want them to feel good around me. And so I put on my makeup every single day.
That's amazing.
I may not leave the house, but I put it on every single day, just in case someone comes over or I do go somewhere. So
that's incredible. So what really inspired you to start sharing your story publicly? That's where I met you actually on Facebook and raise awareness about breast implant illness.
Well, I started seeing all these different, I knew about the breast implant illness sites. And I went through a time where I just stopped talking about it. I didn't want to hear anything more about it. Yeah. And this is so probably selfish to say, but I went through a moment where I was actually angry because I felt like I see all these women suffering. And now keep in mind, this was before. So, and this was a very low spot I was in.
Yeah.
They had their implants removed. And they're going back to life, and they still have their beautiful hair, and they have their breasts. They're just not as large as they were. And I couldn't see that because I was almost just jealous, I guess, that they can still kind of go back to a normal life.
Yeah.
And I think I was just really in a bad depression at that time. So I got off. I didn't want to look at anything about breast implant illness. And then I started realizing it doesn't matter if they still have their hair and if they still have their breast. Their life was changed and their life was altered and their bodies were sick and their bodies were poisoned. And that's not fair to them.
Yeah.
All of our stories are different and they're also the same in so many ways. But to each person,
yeah,
sickness and this change that you have in your life, because breast implant illness changes your brain. I know for me, there's a lot of memory loss and there's confusion comes up. And I've had so many people say, well, you are 56 years old. That's right. I'm 56 years old. But I can tell you for sure the day that these implants, would you like me to show them?
Oh, yeah. I saw them already and I want everybody else to see it.
The day that these were removed.
Wow. How many cc is that? How many cc?
These are 600 cc's each.
Oh, huge. And they actually look clear, so they never ruptured, right?
Mine did not rupture, no. And that's, I think, a huge misconception is the outer shell is silicone. So the people that think that I have gummy bear implants or I have saline implants, so I'm safe, they're not going to harm my body, that is not true at all. The outer shell is silicone, and the second they are placed, those heavy metals and toxins are being seeped into your body, and that's why your body forms that capsule. That's why we say to get a capsulectomy, because that scar tissue pocket is all poison, but it still seeps through there into your body.
You know, it's interesting that you're saying it and you're not a doctor, and yet I see doctors, I'm right now in Miami, who are putting posts and reels about how there is so much misinformation about en-bloc explant and how dangerous it is to do en-bloc explant because it can rupture a lung. And I'm thinking, where is this coming from? Like you said, if a capsule, we know that most of the capsules are contaminated. 30 to 40% of women have some kind of pathogens. 3 to 5% will have ALCL, BIA, which is cancer of the capsule. So why are they not telling the truth? I mean, it angers me so much.
It is an excuse because the lung is below the rib cage. And if you're going to rupture a lung by removing the breast implant, I wouldn't want that doctor working on me at all.
Absolutely. And you have a great point there. You know why? Because I remember interviewing Dr. Randall Feingold, and he said, if any doctor get closer to the lungs, he knows it. And if he suspected that he's by mistake, it never happened to him, yes, but if he suspect that he ruptured, he will know. It's not an accident that you don't know about it. So really, this is like just getting women in a fear factor so they don't ask for en-bloc explant, because en-bloc explant takes longer and it takes more expertise. And most of the doctors that are not microsurgeon, they for some reason, they don't know how to do it. Give it to somebody else who is an expert.
But they're not going to admit that. They're going to say that it isn't safe.
Yeah.
But it's horrible. And we know what happens if they rupture or open that capsule before they remove it out of your body.
Yes.
We've seen what's inside those capsules.
Yes.
It's toxic. It's poison.
Oh, absolutely. We know also now, I think that when I explanted, this is 2021, a doctor were not saying that actually breast implants are bleeding slowly into the body. Today, I actually interviewed Dr. Randall Feingold a while ago, like a month ago, and he said, yes, he has found silicone in the lymph node, and those breast implants were not ruptured,
Exactly.
So we know there's a few studies now that are showing it, and I have friends that have, they had the implants were ruptured, and they're still dealing with the consequences, and it's very hard to detox it.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
how are you going to get stuff like that out of your cells? Your entire makeup. I mean, there's just no way to get it all out.
Absolutely. So, what is the message today that you want to tell, not just women, but I would say also doctors, because that's the time to leave a message to all the plastic surgeons that are still not doing. I mean, there is a black box warning on the breast implants from the FDA, right? And I think that
we talked about other countries banned them. Remember that? We had a conversation about that.
Yeah. And you know what else?
The United States hasn't.
And there is a list of consent that the doctor has to go through, the plastic surgeon, who we hope is a board-certified plastic surgeon, right? And he has to go through that list with his patients. So, and I know for a fact that some doctor, maybe 50% at least, don't do that. They just think about,
and they're never going to tell you. I mean, and I'm not anti-doctor at all.
Yes.
Just like in anything, there are good and bad police officers, good and bad teachers, good and bad.
Absolutely.
And when you have a doctor, and I'm going to put this out there, if you have a plastic surgeon that tells you that these implants are safe because either they're gummy bear implants or they haven't leaked or they're filled with saline, that is not okay. Because they're not telling you the truth.
Yes.
And I would tell women that what I have dealt with and what millions of women, I've talked to women all over the world.
Yes.
This journey in the last 6 years.
Yes.
All over the world, from all different countries have contacted me.
Yes.
And this isn't something made up in my head or anyone else's head. This is a fact that until you can figure out a way to make this outer shell skin or, some part of the human body and make it out of the human body, this is not safe.
It's a foreign device, right? We know it's a foreign device that bleed and leak chemicals and toxic heavy metals. We all know that. So
from the moment they're placed.
Absolutely, Tamara.
Don't do it. You can get fat transfer to the breast. And I know there are still risks involved with fat transfer to the breast. There's oil cysts can come up.
Yeah.
And you can get some necrosis, which I've had necrosis and have to have it removed.
Yeah.
But when you weigh the risk and the benefits, according to you as a woman, what you need, me as a bald woman, it's important to me to at least feel like a woman in my body.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing. And so if I do have to have some fat necrosis removed in the future, I'd much rather do that.
Absolutely.
To dying, which is what the breast implants will eventually do.
Yeah. And I had twice fat transfer with Dr. Randall Feingold in New York. And because he's very conservative in the way he puts less amount of fat so that the blood vessel can actually feed the fat to avoid fat necrosis. So, and it was extremely successful. I mean, I have breasts now that look like I'm 17. I mean, I don't want my kids to hear that. Awesome. But my daughter tell me that, my twin girl says, well, it looks amazing. And I know it's natural, so that's very, very important. Before we wrap up, Tamara, I want to ask you, what is your mission and the message? What kind of message would you like to tell women just before we end up this podcast today?
I think my biggest thing would be trust yourself. If you are dealing with breast implant illness already, you're not alone. You're not crazy. Reach out to someone who can talk to you and let you know that your symptoms are real.
Yeah.
Definitely get a doctor who is experienced and tells you that breast implants are not safe. They are toxic to your body, and definitely have a complete capsule, total capsule. I do this all the time.
It's called on-block explant surgery, right?
Yes, yeah. Exactly. Have that out. And not only that, love the body that you have. And I'm trying every day to love this new Tamara and to thank God that I am alive and that I'm healthy and I can be here for my family. And it's hard as a woman, but I think everyone needs to love who they are. And if you haven't had breast cancer, and some people have different sized breasts too. One's much larger than the other one, and that's hard mentally as a woman as well. But I say get fat transfer, and now there's doctors doing donor fat transfer.
Exactly.
How amazing is that?
Yeah, it's a new thing, and it actually has a lot of promises. So Tamara, lastly, I want to finish with your dream, and you shared it with me, of creating an organic healing garden. Can you share it with our viewers? And I like to end up the podcast with a positive note.
Well, I just something that Matthew and I are really big on vitamins and holistic, natural. God put everything on this earth for a reason.
Yeah.
And our dream is to one day have our own home on our own piece of property. We can make gardens and have chickens and grow herbs. And
that's nice.
Off of our own land.
That's nice.
How wonderful would that be? Just to, you never have to worry and put that clean, healthy food in your body and detox as much of the nasty as you can.
Absolutely.
That would be wonderful.
Yes. And, and I will add that small steps makes a huge step. So start small. If you don't have the land, then just start a small organic garden, right?
Yeah.
I'm going, Tamara, to add a link. You created a special Facebook, right? A page where people can join you and, right? So we're going...
I have my Tamara Ellis, which is my maiden name.
Yes.
Because since we hadn't been married yet, I didn't want to keep my ex-husband's name. So I've just gone by Tamara Ellis on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so you can find me on Facebook or Breast Implant Illness of Missouri and South Carolina.
Okay, so they can find you there. They can follow you on your journey, and all of your tips, from anything from healing to even being a grandmother, and hopefully starting your new organic garden.
Can't wait. I will one day. I will.
Tamara, thank you so much. I'm sending you lots of love, and promise me to give me some tips on that makeup stuff. You did an amazing job. I love it.
Oh, thank you, Leora. And thank you. You're absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. We'll be in touch. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Big kiss. Bye.